morning comes from the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 1, beginning at verse 18. Now, the birth of Jesus the Messiah took place this way. When his mother Mary had been engaged to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. Her husband, Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. But just when he had resolved to do this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Look, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife, but had no marital relations with her until she had borne a son, and he named him Jesus. The word of the Lord. It has taken a lot of thought, but I have finally decided what to give you for Christmas this year. I've chosen a gift that you can use right away, and best of all, it is a gift that will bring home the true meaning of Christmas. You see, I'd wanted to give you a gift and have a gift ready to present to you today that could be put to use in our nativities and nativity scenes and all our decorations at church. But what do you give a church that already has everything? You already have a place to receive the infant Christ. There is room at the inn in our church, and no need to send the Holy Family to the stable. In addition, you already have a choir to lead us in songs of praise. And you have a organist and musician to accompany our music. You have any number of people who are available to play the roles of Mary and Joseph and the shepherds and the angels and the wise men. And you have no shortage of robes, shepherd's crooks, angels' wings, crowns for the wise men to wear, and gifts for them to bring. But I couldn't help but think that there's still something missing. Something you don't yet have. Yet for the longest time, I couldn't put my finger on it until now. I had my first clue that our Christmas celebrations lacked something important when I was reading an advice columnist in a newspaper a few years ago. A reader had written in that she was angry because a couple in her church had kept their crying baby in worship during the whole service. The reader complained about how disruptive the infant had been and how frustrated she had been at the parents and the church officials for allowing that child to remain in the service. Now, when I first read this letter in the paper, I was sympathetic to the reader's complaint until now. You see, the worship service that crying infant had disrupted, which caused the woman to complain, had been the Christmas Eve service for her church. Now think about that for a minute. Friends, it has taken me a while, but the light has dawned. It finally occurred to me what we are missing from our Christmas celebration. You see, after reflecting on the story of this woman's complaint to the advice columnist, I now know what I want to give this church to complete our preparations. I know what gift will open our eyes to the true meaning of the season. Baby, think it over. Some of you know. Baby, Think It Over is a lifelike doll that is designed to give teens a realistic experience in what it means to care for an infant. It cries and has to be held and tended to regularly, even through the night. Schools use such realistic dolls with students to help them gain an inkling of the true demands of parenthood. Well, I think Baby Think It Over is the perfect gift for our church. It is just what our nativity needs: realism. Forget the quiet, plastic infant Jesus that adorns the typical nativity scene, and bring on Baby Think It Over. Imagine and watch Mary and Joseph frantically try to calm the crying infant so the shepherds can hear the angel's announcement of the Messiah's birth. Try and listen to the choir perform their cantata while Baby Think It Over, the deluxe edition with lifelike colic, launches into a crying frenzy that send a sleep-deprived Mary and Joseph into a half-dazed effort to calm the infant as they pace back and forth in front of the sanctuary. Then, and only then, will you begin to get an inkling of the real and true meaning of Christmas. But the present I have gotten you doesn't end there. Oh, no. It doesn't end after the cantata. You can't put Baby Think It Over into a closet with the rest of the nativity props after Christmas. No, Baby Think It Over is the gift that keeps on giving. So after the cantata, after all our Christmas celebrations are over, one of you will have to take Baby Think It Over home with you and keep it all week. And you will get to take it with you to work and out shopping and stay up with it when it cries at night, just like the students are asked to do for their school assignment. And when your week is up, you will pass Baby Think It Over on to the next church member who will take it home, and we'll keep passing it on all year until next Christmas when we start all over again. And if you think, well, I'll just stay home, or somehow you plan to skip your turn, well, you can forget that as well. We know where you live, and we will hunt you down. And you will open your door one morning and walk out, and there will be Baby Think It Over in a basket, crying like mad with a note attached to it saying, "This is not a game. This is the real and true meaning of Christmas." You see, relatives may get to go home when the newest addition to the family acts out. But you are not called to be an aunt or uncle to the baby Jesus. Like Joseph, you and I are called to become a parent to the infant Jesus who commits his or her life to accept the responsibilities of faith. Christmas is not a festival we attend once a year and then walk away from, but is a call to become a parent of the gospel. And a significant part of the gospel is the fact that Jesus did not drop out of the sky as a complete entity. Rather, he was born into a community of faith in which he had to be cared for, taught, disciplined, and loved. He had to learn to deal with sibling rivalry, his own emotions, and all the complexities of life under the guidance of his parents and community. Jesus was truly Emmanuel, God with us in the fullest sense of the word. And as God depended on Jesus' parents and community of faith to nurture him to fruition, so too our church has been called to take on these same responsibilities. For just as Christ's faith did not fall out of the sky, but was nurtured in a family and community of faith, so too we are called to cultivate faith in others, to become parents of the gospel who deal with the day-to-day work of fostering faith, hope, and love in others through the church in acts of service, teaching, fellowship, and worship. You see, the woman who complained about the baby who cried during the Christmas Eve service at her church had it all wrong. That baby was no distraction. Instead, that crying baby, that crying, colicky baby, was the voice of an angel calling her and us to become parents of the gospel. We have not been called to be spectators who complain. We have been called to be parents who accept the responsibility to stay with God's children through it all. That, my friend, is Emmanuel, God with us. That, my friends, is the true meaning of Christmas. Christian, think it over. Let all God's people say